So, hello guys, and finally, we're back with a new video from Cadre of Truth here, and we present an impression of chapter 139 titled Chaotic Destiny. The narrator continues, saying the most heinous killer came without return. The writer focuses on Kasaromi behind her, who is Asaka Rachel here, who is careful Amanda Hughes. Let's say that Rum is the one imagining it this way. Look, in this chapter, she appeared in front of Rum as she left, and I want you to focus with me, guys. Here, the chapter begins at the end of the previous chapter 148, and she says, "Wow, your voice, I have heard it before. Have we met before, I wonder?" "Oh, Mr. Sushi Chef." Val here says to her, "Nuri, no, I don't remember us meeting before, but look here. So he's drawing thought bubbles for you." The problem and the strange thing is that if you look at the first frame, when he tells you this woman is really Rachel Asaka, his guardian Amanda Hughes character, okay, here you feel like he's the one remembering. But the next frame, maybe had been abates and is his son.
Why didn't he put Nuri's picture? He is the one remembering the frame in front of you like this, Brother Zarak. He brought you Rum from chapter 1108 of the Queen's Gambit. The same one he brought you now. You see the difference, and he is making a difference between Wakinuri and Rum, and he brought you the one who is thinking. No, there isn't. And as long as he focused there, when you used to believe throughout the previous chapters that he was the real Ram, now you start to doubt. See what it means. And sometimes it's normal in a chapter to confirm your theory. In the second chapter, it suddenly shifts. Anyway, here it brought you the frame of how they are remembering the meeting with Nuri, or let's say Ram, and how Romi is hiding inside and now asks, "What happened to your left eye?" Here, he started giving or begins to give the same excuse he always tells people. "A terrible pimple appeared and so I scratched it and it didn't heal." Do you want to see it? Unlike everyone else, Rumi said to him, "Kaiten, yes, please show me. I have no problem with this thing." "Oh, great, go ahead, see, guys. The hypothesis we had that Rumi was the one who met the children was 100% correct. But the question arises, was Rumi the one who met the children at the beginning?" I mean, what do you see as the path the children are taking logically if you look at it, meaning the direction the children are looking at? So supposedly Rumi met them from the front, meaning she confronted them like this. Let's say she met them. She wasn't the person following them to the extent that she would look back. So it's possible that even though I might reject this idea, it remains valid that it's someone else. Then Rumi came and the children met Rumi. It might mean it's not the impossible thing that can't happen, just ask her. And surprisingly, you are the assistant teacher for Kobayashi sensei's class and Kasarumi, so she tells him it has been a long time, a very long time too. And I encountered some students a little while ago who told me I was in a place where a murder occurred, so I got worried and came here. And she tells you, so I will wait here. So if you notice something, inform the investigators because they are moving like this. So this is the reason the sensei is here, to uncover the mystery of the case. He says, "If you distract attention and Kasa, I will solve the case." And here we notice how he says, "I have other requests to deliver, so I will leave now." He doesn't finish his words as a strong hand grabs a shot of Jack Death. Oh, Nuri Jack Death. Since we are here anyway, why not wait to see how the case will be solved, Mr. Sushi Chef? And the crime my students talked about happened in a different apartment from this one. Which means this is another crime, right? It's exciting that two murders happened in the same building on the same day. Okay, here's the twist that will make him stay against his will. She said, "And you were present when the body of the crime that happened here was found, weren't you?" So the police might ask you about something later. Oh, okay. Here he is convinced by Waka's words, and even though he knows she is just flattering him and likes him, he stays. But her words make sense, even if
he had rejected her proposal. It would have caused him problems with the police. He says to her, "Yes, that's true."
And here the interrogation itself began.
how she kept repeating the victim's question. He told them if you all turned out to be acquaintances, and everyone said okay, meaning we are acquaintances. But when we heard the sound and the music started playing loudly in this apartment, everyone said I was broadcasting, and I was like you broadcasting. Also, the door was locked with a chain. And here, even though he started to be convinced by their words, he acted by removing the headphones, and suddenly the music blared loudly, which we talked about in the analysis of chapter 2048, when we said this is the method the criminal uses to raise the volume without being present. All he has to do is pull the headphones from the amplifier, and thus the music will blast loudly. And this is what happened, and this is what Conan uncovered here. Like he started to show him simplicity and anger. With like he asked them, "What were you doing, Shuab?" He said, "I go, sorry, I wanted to listen to some music." Well, the headphones were wrapped and tied like this and everything, but the wire was wrapped and tied, so it became short. You can't wear the headphones like this, so I put my finger in the coil of the wire and pulled the headphone. Here came the moment of realization, and they understood how the criminal pulled off this trick. He tied the wire and when he pulled it, the sound exploded very loudly, startling or grabbing the attention of everyone. Here their voice continues, saying, if the wire is very long, then both of you, the neighbors of the adjacent apartments, can play loud music while you are in one of the apartments. And you can retrieve the string by pulling and wrapping it from one end. The idea is that since you pass the string from both sides, after you pull the headphones and the volume increases, all you have to do is pull one side of the string and it will come to you. Look at what she says. She says, it seems that one of the mysteries has been solved. Are there 2 or 3 moves left for the young man to die? In this case, I wonder. Then she says, don't you like the showbiz? Here, we see how Ramsan's followers are asking about Ramsan, what instructions Ramsan? Behind him is distorted, stuck, harsh, to be honest. Yeah, Dawa and Kuri here say, but Toby continues, the door was really locked with a chain, so we give her his famous sentence. A piece of the chain fell here, and they take the chain and asking everyone. He says to them, could it have flown here from the door lock chain at the entrance when it broke? And he continues giving another hint. He says, but Sen, when the chain broke, the door opened outward, right? So a piece of the chain cannot fall inside the apartment. The suspects are sitting, making up stories and giving explanations. Cory said, couldn't the piece have gotten caught on clothes and fallen off when entering the apartment? Yeah, and he continues to say, or he kicked it away, so it flew inside. And here he tells you, you have work remembering that when the chain was broken, there was no significant resistance. Oh, Kamal, really stupid. Glory be to God. How did he become a member of the FBI? And see the difference between the Kamal we saw in the previous case and the Kamal they saw in this case. Camille here is an idiot. Look at the strange thing. It means if you opened the door while it was chained and discovered there was little to no resistance, when you pulled the chain as you forcefully opened the door, okay, it means it opened easily, so you should question it. What happened, you fool? Okay, here he tells him, but the door was really locked with the chain, right? We heard a banging sound and we're doing the same action. Now he placed his foot in front of the glass door. And when he pulled the door, we heard the banging sound, which was the door hitting the foot. And here he told him, I wanted to put the headset on to raise the audio and video devices. So I opened the glass door and hit my knee with the door. My brother, don't tamper with the crime scene as you please. Calm down, bro. So, you understand? He said, if the real lock was broken, then, and what was visible to us, a fake chain attached to the door, and if you previously drew a line indicating the spot where the fake chain tightens when pulled, then you placed your foot under the door along the line. When the door opens, it will stop halfway, deceiving others that it is locked with a chain. It means he came and saw the maximum length of the new chain he installed superficially, placed his foot next to the maximum length of the chain, so logically people would assume the door is closed. In the series, I said that the only one who could do that was you, Tobi-san, who was standing on the right side of the door at the time. No one else, right?
And here, we see how Toby was shocked, and everyone, and honestly, it means he says, I see. So he locked the door with the chain and then used a long stick or something similar to break the chain using the lever principle inside the apartment. Therefore, he did not know where the broken chain pieces flew, so he could not retrieve them. And here you see how he pulled using a broomstick. He used a broomstick and pulled forcefully, breaking the chain inward, and that's how he broke the chain, okay? Here he sat giving you in. His alibi was but I was really live streaming while playing. So they said at the time of the crime, which you see was an hour and a half to 2 hours ago. I remember the girls' games are simulation games where you choose from the options that appear in each scene to achieve an emotional connection. If you have previously memorized the choice that should be selected, you can finish the game by sound without needing to see the screen. You can also hear the followers' comments that appear in real time and interact with them if you convert them to sound. But action games cannot be completed without seeing the screen naturally. So here, they presented the same hypothesis you did, that you can solve the entire game, record a clip while you solve the game, and then as the game plays, you keep talking because you have memorized all the stages, and thus you interact with the followers, and the game is solved by you naturally, so the solutions activate. The problem here, or the mistake made here, is that in chapter 127, Toby indicated to himself that he was broadcasting in his appearance, in his form, not just his voice. That's why my mistake or the confusion happened, but it doesn't mean look, at least we discovered the criminal's trick as if I were present with him. The idea of responding to followers, using the game as an alibi, and producing sound, there are some points in his favor. No, thank God. Toby sat defending himself and said, "Didn't you say with your own tongue, Mr. Detective? There are no marks on the neck of the corpse indicating resistance when strangled, so do not interpret his statement. This can be done if the victim was sedated beforehand. Then I dressed the sleeping victim in a jacket that is easy to remove, then wrapped him with adhesive tape so Yoshikawa's lines won't appear when he is hanged. Now, what are these lines they talk about when a person is strangled from behind or hanged by someone else? Therefore, he will attempt to pull the rope from his neck, and as long as the pressure continues on his neck, he will use his nails to pull the rope even more. And here Skas will appear, as we've seen in many episodes of Detective Conan. So here, in other words, he says you committed your crime as follows. Okay, here we will not take the full circumstances of the crime. You put the victim to sleep with a sleeping drug. You broke the chain of the entrance door lock. First, you inserted the speaker into the amplifier and turned up the music volume. Then passed the elastic thread through the coil of the speaker wire. And then he carried the victim, whom he had tied with adhesive tape, put his neck in the knot of the rope tied to the pull-up bar. Then he woke him or stood him on a ledge here so that he could be strangled, and you see how he woke him up. And there the poor guy, if he moved forward a little, he would be hanged. If he moved back a little, he would be hanged. And here he started streaming the live broadcast inside the victim's apartment. As we exactly discussed, the broadcast was inside the Chicago apartment. The time came for what seemed like the moment of the haunted house, or most likely you removed the threshold, meaning the victim was hanged, killing the victim simultaneously with the events in the haunted house in the game where screams and groans are heard. The problem is, how did he know all these details about the game? Supposedly, the one who presented this point was at the house. Therefore, it seems that he also completed the game with Kobayashi. Me at the debate. The important thing here is he said, then I retrieved the strip of adhesive tape, I prepared the fake chain at the entrance door and returned to the apartment, then he pulled the elastic thread, and their camera said that the sun exploded and the abayas gathered. Then the important thing here is they ask where is the fake chain? He tells him that the chains hanging from your waist have increased in number. My brother, there were 2 at first, but now there are 3. Why? So here, okay, you mean to say that if we investigate or analyze it, we will realize that one of these chains is the one you used for the fake. And it seems that when people were busy with the body after you entered, you took the opportunity and took your chain. All of us, if only the body was clearly visible from the entrance to break into the apartment, it would surpass breaking it. They're on the Shine the Lock series. And he continues. The tag, and as for the key to this apartment, he probably placed it on the kitchen table. When they broke into the apartment, it means Toby says, damn. And so Corey asks him, okay, sorry, Corey, honestly, I wronged you.
instead of him black and polite. So I think he was very forgiving with girls' games. It's not a girls' game. An actual role-playing game. Do you know the game The Last War Chronicles?
Yes, he told him about this independent game that sparked a huge wave of criticism on the internet as a very bad game. He said it was created by one of his dearest friends and began to tell the story of how he was the reason for its destruction. When asked, he said, "Why did you do all this?" He replied, "The Last War Chronicles." "Oh, you mean the game that set social media ablaze after you belittled it?" I don't know exactly what her problem is because I haven't tried it. All I did was gather the interesting elements from people's opinions on the internet. I exaggerated in my review to stir up criticism towards the game. I mean, he didn't play the game and ended up ruining it. He said to him, he called him, "I have to write reviews for many games in one day and I don't have time to play a trivial game like that." Didn't the controversy and the sales of that game rise anyway? I mean, he didn't support it, so he was going to tell his friend that, okay, the game's sales improved, but he found himself, hanged in his house because he incurred a huge debt to create his game, it seems. So now he says this is the reason you made him the victim. He hangs himself then? Yes, even Chicago likes girl games. So I moved to this building on the basis that I am a fellow who loves girl games. And I mean, I exploit everything to make him kill Chicago. So I asked him after killing that note that I made look like a suicide note. I am amazed at your ability to make the victim write a text suitable for the crime as well. She assumed that the victim wrote this note under the criminal's orders, but he told her no, he just found this note and used it to make it look like a suicide note. His friend who committed suicide when he wrote to him, it's no longer possible. It's the end, Aoyama. Look. Long after I proved to you that suicide note was fake, Aoyama won't come now and tell you it's a real fake suicide note, but in the same chapter, we present you with a real suicide note. The same text is no longer possible. It is the end. Thus, this might be a hint that someone tampered with the real death note and turned it into another death note stolen from that one. He said, so I made it look like a suicide note unconsciously, but it became an omen. If he hadn't made it a suicide note, the police would realize this is a murder, but it became an omen foretelling a sad end. Honestly, it means the case was beautiful. The events, even though Aoyama brought you a somewhat far-fetched plot, meaning the reason for the death and the reason for the murder. Why was it usually customary for him to give us some hints about the reason for the murder by the criminal in the previous chapter of the case? But here he only brought you the reason for the solution chapter. Although, it seems that the crime happened due to a bad evaluation. After watching, it means she stopped with her car. It means she saw the police car and said, police car. And here, Wakasa Rumi says, it seems the case ended with the perpetrator admitting defeat. You will continue the game with me with another move after the police leave, right?
Oh, Mr. Sushi Chef, and here we witness the greatness of madness, the character of Nuri. We hear him tapping and scratching.
It comes to you after being transferred directly. He says to you, is it possible that Camille got involved in a case? Then Kasarumi listens to the sound of tapping and scratching. Tap and scratch, tap and scratch, tap and scratch.
She says this sound is the clicking of Morse code teeth in front of Serum.
Even though the police are still with us and in front of Serum's eyes, a car rushes to crash into the wall of the hotel where our friends or our heroes are now, honestly. Now we see how, from the intensity of the collision that happened directly in front of Romi, Konan Edogawa, and Wakata Kena, all of them are present here in front of the collision. You can see how even the shirt lifted from the impact, meaning her hair and Kasa are terrified. And finally, we see Wakita's sly smile, and the narrator says he turned the tables with a cunning move and continues as he follows in the double chapter. 36, 37, meaning that this is almost half a chapter. We consider it as half a chapter. The next half will be next week, God willing, on a day. The trio. And, look, he was fair to us and hit us. He was fair to us regarding the circumstances of the crime or how the crime occurred. And that's a good thing. But he hit me a lot as the criminal. I had high hopes for Corey. But honestly, GG. As for the point about Kon and Kay being the ones who met the children, this is something or possibility that is indisputable. But the idea always remains that she might have seen another person before and Wakarumi came after that. If Haibara was afraid of Wakasarumi, then the possibility that Vermouth, who is present now, is still a possibility. And it cannot be refuted, meaning we're revisited again to say, well, I remember at that time outwardly and inwardly that he met and encountered Asuka here. It is nothing but a trick from Aoyama. I mean, we saw this, and thanks to our friend in the comments who confirmed this idea for me even more. And he drew a parallel between the Barb arc and the Rum arc when presenting the idea. Our friend Ayman says it's impossible for all this time to be in this arc and be revealed simply. There is a point that will turn events and reveal all of Rum's past, which was uncovered by Tomo and led to his disappearance and expanding his family by moving to Japan. Here, the small headphones we talked about, like the back that Yusaku.
The assumption was that it was Kaito. But in reality, we discovered it was Vermouth. So here we have 3 characters in one person.
And the fourth was the original speaker, Conan, in the Yusaku case. We saw how Yusaku is sick.
A person disguised as Yusaku appeared, and here we thought it was him. But after this, we discovered it was not him, but rather it was Vermouth. At the same time, the person who was delivering the results and conclusions was Conan. Very nice. Extremely nice words.
Afterwards, he connected the events between the Rum arc and the Barb arc. At that time, it seemed that the suspicion was Rum. The truth is that Tomo Akai was the original speaker, Rum.
The same thing in the visible Crimson arc, Okisaburo's suspicion, Akai Shuichi. The truth is Kudo Yusaku, who spoke, or the speaker, through the earpiece from the shrunken Conan. Of course, here Conan sometimes spoke in his father's ear, and he would then deliver the conclusion directly. Honestly, it means, look, he did this twice. So what if he stops? As they say, the third time's the charm. So this would be the third time Aoyama does this sneaky move, this cursed move, and everything turns around. Honestly, it means the idea is possible. The idea is possible to happen, and there is nothing preventing this idea from occurring at the same time. From another observation I noticed, throughout this chapter, with what Wakasa said in such a situation, and the stone, and what the narrator said in such a situation, the elder died and continues, and here, the elder died is a phrase also used in chess. Throughout the story, Wakasa used a phrase related to the game of stones. Then she directly asked about the shogi and also used words from shogi. And here, look, you have chess and shogi. What do these remind you of? The youth. Chess and shogi remind us of the Itakura case, when 3 people came to Mori's house and the 3 requested the design of a game. And the games were a game, a chess game, and a shogi game. And the criminal in it was the shogi player. The important thing is that it seems he is focusing on this issue, thinking about you with this issue for a certain purpose. God knows what it is. I mean, the purpose of Oyama's behavior, God knows. I do not know. In the end, the idea of the collision. Here, the collision that happened might ultimately lead, as we talked about in the prediction segment, to the kidnapping of either Amuro, Rum, or even Conan or Jodie. For example, if the car broke down and armed men got out, they would take the first car that is close to them, and this car would be Jodie's car in front of them.
Honestly, what is about to happen is truly catastrophic.
And the biggest disaster, the greatest calamity here, is that all of this is happening in front of the police car. I mean, the police car is still parked, and the black organization intervened, meaning there's a 3-way collision here between the black organization and Kasarumi. Let's not add a 4th party, which is the police and Yama. Honestly, see how he blew it up.
We might now be on our way to the peak, really, meaning top. If you look at it, the island of Luzaro is something wow. So this chapter is going to be something okay, meaning we hope you enjoyed this clip. Write to me in the comment your thoughts and opinions about what will happen to Conan in that chapter. Yeah, I mean in this.
Let's imagine that this is the end of my thoughts. We hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video, God willing.